Hello, everyone. Today, we are not just venturing into cyberspace, but into something much deeper, into the dark territories of a cybercriminal's mind. Imagine every human mind as its own universe, vast, mysterious, filled with hidden corners and unknown forces. And today, I invite you to this journey to explore the cybercriminal's mind, to dive in the psyche of cybercriminals who operate in the dark web. And I'm happy to be your guide on this journey today. For the past 4 years, I spent countless hours researching the dark web, looking for severe incidents and breaches. Well, besides serious incidents and breaches, I've developed a little bit hobby, just reading the dark web, let's say, for entertainment. Now, before I think I'm glorifying it, let me clarify. What fascinates me is the mindset, the motivations, the peculiar psychology behind their actions. These are real people, these real fears and real desires and motivations, just working in the shadows. But before we embark on this journey, I need you to keep 2 rules in mind. First, everything I'm going to say today is not a justification or excuse for illegal activity. And second one, let's agree to step away from any subjective ideas of good or bad. Let's analyze the world of cybercriminals impartially to understand their motives and motives about their actions. So, buckle up and let's examine the gravitational pull of their thoughts and desires. The issue of cybercrime has been discussed time and again by many researchers and psychologists. And if we summarize all the studies conducted, the typical characteristic of a cybercriminal personality highlight the following: high level of intelligence, narcissism and ego, thirst for financial gain, lack of empathy, and high risk tolerance. While intelligence and narcissism are not any key factors, they rather concomitant with the others, making it more side effects. I think this is why it is more interesting to look at the other 3 parameters in more detail, as they play a far more central role in shaping cybercriminals' mindset. And I would like to start with financial gain. Financial motivation is also not something unique. Almost everyone wants money. But it is believed that people enter the dark path because of the thirst for easy money and its amount. We've already found out how much money people get offered in the dark web. We analyzed more than 800 advertisements on the dark web offering you different kinds of jobs, and our research has shown that the median salary is from $1,300 to $4,000. Depending on the job. Of course, there are some offers far beyond this median, but as a rule, cybercriminals get offered fixed equal to this median, and then there are some bonuses and percentages from successfully realized projects. Also, there are some startups who offer you to work for free and then pay you back someday if startup becomes successful. And presence of such ideological cybercriminals actually contradicts the statement that everybody in the dark web is for money. And this leads us to the question, why people work in dark web for such money? The thing is that the dark web is also an organized market. It has the same rules of supply and demand. It has some reputation, which is important. Moreover, it has hierarchy and its own elite. The most successful cybercriminals who have everything to earn large sums of money. And they can easily hire a team of specialists they need. On the other end of this hierarchy, we see some newbies and newcomers who are just starting out. And they agreed to perform less meaningful and lower paid tasks, hoping to climb this social ladder over time. We see that dark web is quite the same as capitalist market, and some people earn more than others. I suppose to consider the business model of the malware, called reader. Reader is malware specifically designed to store users' information. Moreover, it is the second most common info stealer in the world since 2020, according to our research. And it is distributed as a service model, meaning anyone can pay $150 and get access to this malware. At the beginning of this year, an interesting interview came out with the owner of the reader, also known as Sultan. And Sultan shared the most intriguing thing, its revenue. Let's look. The cybercriminal groups get $600,000 per year, and $96,000 comes to salary and maintenance of infrastructure. And we get margin of 84%, which means that Sultan has quite profitable and successful business. And we know there are 4 people in the team, developers and the support, and it goes that each of them gets $24,000 per year. When interviewer asked Sultan why his team gets so little for illegal job, he answered that actually his team works in a relaxed way, not in the clock. Besides, everyone can work on the site, and everyone is happy and satisfied. So conclusions are as follows. Of course, for some cybercriminals, financial motivation is important. But for some cybercriminals, for example, for Sultan, motivation is definitely not money. And this project, this malware, is just a hobby for him. And he said he has enough investment, and this project is just for his soul. So we see for some cybercriminals, money is not important, and they are just side effect, and they considered working in the dark web as a hobby. Moreover, when cybercriminals want to launder money, they open legal business. And if they have enough investments, they have nice legal business, why they continue to do illegal things? Why they work in dark web? Why take risk on the dark web? One of the answers can be their yearning for risk. There is a theory that cybercrime provides anonymity and distance from the victims, which reduces perceived risk, and this makes it more tempting to participate in illegal activities. For example, the same Sultan commented the news that the FBI found the use of his malware in the series of attacks like this. This does not scare me, but only propels me to take all possible safety measures. Of course, not every cybercriminal finds high risk acceptable. In the beginning of this year, law enforcement disrupted operation of one of the most notorious ransomware group, Logbit. I think you probably heard about this. But just prior to this, there was a major scandal on well-known dark web forum involving Logbit. The ransomware group found itself in hot water after refusing to pay some percentage from the ransom to the access broker. And what I found extremely interesting in this situation is how participants of well-known dark web forums reacted to this news and how they discussed the ransomware in terms of risk. First point of view is like this, that there are too many money in ransomware, and the financial gain from extortion outweighs all the risk and losses. And the second point of view is that risks are unacceptable, and it is necessary to ban any activity related to ransomware, ban any user who cooperates with ransomware groups. So these two attitudes show that risk acceptance vary among cybercriminals, but also risk acceptance vary among individual cybercriminal through his or her life. While young and unexperienced, someone can be very excited about this type of activity. As time goes by, they get immersed in life of hacking and all its consequences. Kind of paranoia develops. In some cases, cybercriminals cannot cope with it. They continue to live in chronic stress and tension. In other cases, cybercriminals adapt. They create and implement their own rules, safety measures, and say themselves that they will not be caught. So far, so good for risk. Let's continue this another trait of cybercriminals, lack of empathy. By empathy, we usually mean the ability to understand and share things of another. From this point of view, cybercriminals believe to lack empathy, which leads to denial of social norms and lack of responsibility. But the thing is that cybercriminals see the world a little bit differently. Let's take an example, carding. Cybercriminals believe that they do not defraud separate individuals, but rather large banks and companies. And it does not hurt them to lose a couple of thousand. In other words, no one's feelings are hurt. People do not bear any losses. That's why carding in countries where a bank is fully responsible for the theft of funds, they consider completely ethical. Also, there is a point of view that cybercriminals deny social norms. They do not follow established rules and do not recognize universally accepted values. They have their own opinion about what is good or bad, and they develop their own social norms. Since they live in their own world, they need to communicate, they need to cooperate with each other, and they create some type of principles, such as do not attack medical sector, or do not attack country where they live in. For example, most cybercriminals agreed that they shouldn't attack the medical sector. And here you can see a quote from the dark web forum where somebody explained this. First of all, they care about loved ones, and they understand that if medical system fail, it could affect their own family. And as twisted as it sounds, they draw a line here. But here, we have some examples when cybercriminals find it totally okay to hack hospitals. And the first case, we see the same logbit. It was the case of attack on non-profit hospital in Chicago in December 2023. Interesting, they have quite the same situation a year ago, previous to that. And that time, they apologized and sent the crypto for free. But this time they wanted ransom. So we see, even among cybercriminals community, even within the one individual separate cybercriminal group, not everyone adheres to the same rules, to the same principles. So cybercriminals can deny or follow such rules based on their objectives, simply switch this off or on when it is needed. So I suggest consider such principles not as code of honor of cybercriminals, but rather as such social norms on the dark web. Here's the thing. It has some charms. For the first, such rules usually developed the group of people, forum administrators, some forums veterans, and these rules are mandatory for every participant on the forum. And it is regulated at the forum level by administrators. If some participant violate these rules, they get some permanent ban. And of course, there are some benefits from it. For example, for forum administrators, it's kind of safety measures. They want to prevent the forum from shutting down. For some cybercriminals, of course, it can be such kind of professional ethic or moral code. After all, they are human too. They are always searching for ways to justify their actions. But what about others, participants? Why they prefer to follow these rules or defy them? For my opinion, the biggest advantage for cybercriminals from following the rules is the community. It is the possibility to communicate, to simply chat, to share struggles, to get some support, to maybe support each other in difficult situations. As you can see, for example, if somebody is in imprisonment and there is need for a lawyer, cybercriminal community can help. And of course, they can unite, they can create alliances, and even cults. After all, they're human too. They need to be a part of the world. So, okay, I think we missed one slide here, so I will try to show you it as I remember. So what are the real cybercriminals portrait? They're never the same. For example, we have someone who is very egoistic, who is thirsting for money, such as solar gold seeker. And this is one portrait. And then another. Maybe somebody is not so thirsty for money, but very empathetic, care about their family, but just loving what they're doing in dark web, like their communities, so chat a lot, and support other participants. So we can discuss these cybercriminals portrait all day long. But here's the thing. In dark web, nobody can hear them scream, but only if we are not listening. So it's our job to listen, to decode those silent alarms, and take decisive actions. Let's ensure that their silence does not become our vulnerability. So that's all for me for today. Thank you so much for your attention.